Hey everybody, Brian Von VA here, back at it again with another set of D&D stories. Today, we're going to be talking about what the dumbest way that your NPC has died, part 1. We were in a space pirate campaign. When we fought a rival group of pirates, the head crewman on our ship had been blown off into space. We forgot about them during the combat and just forgot to go get them. The funny thing was that in this universe that we were playing in, being stuck in space wasn't truly lethal. What had killed him was actually starvation and dehydration. So, in the future, someone could be flying their ship through space and just find this random skeleton floating around in the nothingness. I mean, technically, it wouldn't be a skeleton either because there'd be nothing up there to decompose you. I DM'd a holiday-themed one-shot. My players were tasked with being rookies on a police force in a town called Jolly Rock. The basic premise of the story was that they would be paired off and answer emergency calls that were all Christmas themed. That's really cute. The first emergency call was inspired by the song, "Baby, It's Cold Outside." So 2 of my PCs answered a call of a possible domestic dispute. Oh no. A neighbor meets them outside and says there was either yelling or singing coming from the neighbor's apartment. And she never trusted the guy. The PCs knock on the door. The guy in the apartment makes them wait a little while before opening the door. He's more or less cordial to them, allowing them to come in, but once they get a sense that he's standing between them and the bedroom door and want to take a look inside, he starts to get a little standoffish. He says that it sounds like it's something they'd need a warrant to do. So, he asks them to leave, then gets slightly confrontational. He starts to try to usher them out, ushering leads to pushing, etc. He pushes them 3-4 times, me assuming that one of the players would at least make an attempt to grapple him. After the 4th push with no reaction from either PC, I tell them that he makes a break for it. He pushes past both of them and is now running down the street. It was about this time that we all sort of realized that none of these characters were your standard spellcasters. These 2 happened to both be, you guessed it, rangers. But no one in the party had spells that would be useful in this particular situation. No charm person, no hold person, etc. So, after an attempt to create water to stop him in his tracks failed, the other PC used spike growth. And that spike lifted that guy right off the ground through the heart. The NPC was your average town person, so his HP was in the single digits. He didn't stand a chance. The PCs then spent the next 15 minutes being faced with something they'd never had to do before, getting rid of a body. My party broke into a storage building where we fought a gang of Kenku. I outsmarted my DM and caught one instead of killing it. After I roped up the Kenku and interrogated him, we found where his boss was and got to skip the maze my DM made. Oops, sorry, and saved us some time. We wound up in a sewer where I was leading the party with the Kenku leading me. We got to an intersection and I shot him with an arrow from a slit in the wall. I lost my grip on the Kenku and the water current swept him under. He drowned and floated away. And that's the story of how I lost my 50-foot rope. Do you know how much that costs at Home Depot? It was my first D&D session, like, 5 years ago now. The DM had allowed me to play a spell sword and was taking it pretty rough on me to, break me in, I guess. It was my first session, and he had already had me lose an entire hand, fight some god of justice, and discover a warforged factory to get my buddy fixed, who had also taken my hand, but helped me escape. So, upon arrival, he was railroading some characters my way so we could group up and form the party. Upon arrival, an uber-powerful being attacks us. Me, being a measly level 4 spell sword, had no idea of what to do. So I, being close to the thing and having a very weak sword, rolled to attack. Well, it wasn't a crit, but I did hit and rolled damage. Needless to say, he stopped the campaign to retcon everything I'd done. Turns out that the big bad the guys were fighting, who was untouchable and was a god consumer, only really had 4 HP, and none of the other players could get close to it to hit it. In short, he got cocky and let his guard down, and I one-shot his big bad evil guy as level 4 spell sword by sheer luck. I literally cut him across the chest, nothing fancy either. It was my first time playing D&D and last time playing with that DM. I didn't fall out, just got busy and never thought to contact. I don't know much on D&D rules or how they work, really. I'm more of a Genesis player. This story takes place a few years back when playtesting 4th edition when it had just came out. Ooh, a beta tester, okay. The goal was to play a lot and quickly to level up to see if it was a good system on any level. I tried to make the unkillable tank with a fighter. I quickly became utterly unkillable with next to 0 magical items. Although my damage was lackluster to put it mildly. So my DM tried a little thing halfway through at around, 15 level. We encountered a beholder. First round, it shot a death ray. 3 failed death saves later, and I was saying hello to the Raven Queen. Nothing tactical, just a series of bad rolls. The unkillable tank was now deceased. Everyone, put an F in the comments below for the unkillable tank. Ultimately, though, the team resurrected my character, and said tank eventually pledged his undying, literally, service to the Raven Queen herself, becoming her personal bodyguard. At level 30, he was nigh impossible to kill and would always come back to life if he did. Hank, I miss playing you, you dumb bag of meat bricks with your flowy golden hair. Love you, Hank. We love you forever. One of my players, whose character was drunk at the time, took a really dumb country hick NPC named Jim Bob out back of the tavern when he was being kind of a dillbag to the party. He was pinned against the wall, held in place with an immovable rod, and beaten within an inch of his life. That's no way to treat someone. He survived, but given his laughably low intelligence, I decided to roll to see if he could understand how the immovable rod worked. Well, he couldn't. So I tried rolling again, and again, and again, until eventually he died of dehydration 2 days later, still pinned to the wall. Drunk as she was, the PC didn't remember about the rod until nearly a week later. The dice giveth, and the dice taketh away. Sorry there, Jim Bob. Playing 5th edition. Defeat a goblin party down to the last enemy. We're playing with a guy that just doesn't like the concept of interrogation in or out of game. Instead of the normal intimidation throw, we decided to lock the goblin in a cell to go in the corner and have a good think about his actions. In a later session, we trip a water trap and that whole level is flooded. It wasn't until much later that when we were comparing notes trying to find the location of the item that was the purpose of the campaign, that we realized that the goblin was still held in the rather damp cell. DM here. We accidentally killed an important NPC for dramatic effect during the first homebrew session for my 3 players. They were in a tomb fighting goblins and a bugbear with their guide, a half-orc badass warrior named Patrice. I've been experimenting with action-oriented monsters, Matt Colville's turn-based actions, and had the stage set for a really cool multi-stage battle. The room was a rectangular stone one with a large bowl of flames, the edge of the bowl jagged and 5 feet off the ground. One of the bugbear's special actions was going to be a grapple attempt and then a slam against the bowl. The idea was initially that they'd get a deep cut which could infect them. However, when it actually came time to execute, something else happened completely. The players had sent Patrice in first to keep the bugbear's attention while they wiped out the goblins. So when turn 3 came around and the bugbear succeeded the grapple check, I figured Patrice was going to take some damage. The bugbear rolls a critical hit on the slam. So instead of dragging Patrice's back against the jagged edge, he fucking decapitates the half-orc instead, and his head is immediately consumed by the flames in the bowl. Cue the oh shit we are next.jpg. My other favorite was with my other homebrew group while the other one was clearly shitting their pants. They were traveling along a country road, when they encountered a very powerful evil sorcerer. He offered them a choice of 500 gold pieces or 1 soul for safe passage through his territory. The party of 6 PCs had 2 NPCs with them. Griffin, a human paladin recruit who was more often a hindrance than a help, and Eris, a wily, shape-changing wizard druid that they met. One of the PCs, thinking the sorcerer is joking, says, "Why don't you just take Grevin then?" and laughs. The sorcerer turns, smiles, says, "Thank you, I think I will," and kills him with Disintegrate before we can respond. Nobody had Counterspell anyways, didn't really matter. Very unexpected and sad death. But they ended up stealing his soul back from the afterlife and helping him come back to the material plane, where I imagine Grevin said, "I don't want to be in a party full of assholes." This one happened years ago in my very first D&D campaign, which was about 3 or 4 sessions in. We were infiltrating a bandit camp and rescuing some people they'd taken prisoner. We managed to break the prisoners out before the bandits really figured out what was happening, as half of the bandits were on the opposite side of a river that ran straight through the middle of the camp. Eventually, those bandits realized all their friends on our side of the camp were dead, so they came across to get some payback. We had a DM PC cleric with us. Now, the DM was actually playing this character while he DM'd because he was going to be playing her as a player after his arc of the campaign was finished. And as we were trying to hold off the advancing enemies and keep them from crossing the bridge, she tried to use Create Water to knock them off into the river. All but one made the save. This one NPC then spent the next 3 rounds making strength saves against the river trying to get to shore, and he failed all 3. We were playing on Tabletop Simulator at the time, so the DM grabbed that NPC's mini, called him a bitch, and yeeted him clean off the table. We all had a good laugh about that. Still one of the funniest NPC deaths in our group. I could imagine just picking up the mini going, "You're just a little bitch," and then just flinging it off into the abyss. "Goodbye, little one. Never again will you see the light of day." Hey everybody, Brian Von VA checking in after the vid. Please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, ring that bell, and of course, leave a comment down below letting us know the dumbest way that an NPC has died, either because of you or in your campaign. We love you all. Be safe out there, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.